So I think we can all agree that Boruto episode 216 is by far probably a top 3 episode in the anime, and this episode really delivered on some of the quality that fans were looking for previous episodes like Boruto episode 214. I think that the anime took a nice different approach for handling the Isshiki and versus Naruto, Sasuke and Boruto fight, and kind of added in some new additions that weren't necessarily in the manga. Like usual, they do kind of try to take a different spin on things and don't necessarily use the same source content 100% of the time. This episode was mainly fighting. There were a lot of things in the episode that were call outs to certain things, back in the anime that were kind of anime exclusive, such as the high compression Rasengan. We got to see that used once again with Boruto using it to protect Sasuke from the falling cube, which I gotta say that Isshiki definitely used the cubes a lot differently in this fight. If you remember in the manga, Naruto was never crushed by a cube, so I had to actually go back in the manga and look at some pages because I don't actually remember that happening in the manga. I believe Naruto was actually free and he was approaching Isshiki before he turned to his Baryon Mode, so I don't mind that change, and I think it was actually fine to kind of stress just how strong Isshiki is. So I'm perfectly fine with them doing that because it kind of added that extra tension that we really need in this fight, kind of just even showing more to just how strong Isshiki Sasuke is. There's also some other changes that I really did like with this episode, such as the change with the Baryon Mode, and the manga cover looks a little bit more dark orange, but in the anime it's more so a darkish red, crimson red, to kind of put it that way, and it looks a lot like Naruto's original transformation back when he was a kid. You guys remember when Naruto would go into his Nine Tails mode and he would have that red aura? It's sort of similar to that, kind of like a feral sort of transformation, if that makes any sense. So I like that they decided to go with the sort of crimson red color, and it honestly looks way better on Naruto than I thought it would. And also we gotta talk about Sasuke in this fight. Sasuke, they did him dirty as usual. I mean, what do you really expect, right? Sasuke got curb stomped and stabbed, and it was just brutal. I think there was one scene to where Sasuke was actually with Boruto and Isshiki was just sort of like standing there in the corner, and then Isshiki summoned some rods and Sasuke switches places with Boruto. So even a little bit of added scenes like that to where Sasuke is just sort of forced to injure himself was pretty cool to see. And then, like I said before, I think Boruto actually protected him from that fallen cube right after that scene. In the actual manga, there was a scene that I would have liked to watch for this one where Isshiki was going to stab Sasuke with his own sword, but Boruto jumped in the way. I think that would have been really cool to include in here, but with the way they kind of structured this episode, I don't really know what they could have fit that in, so I kind of understand why they didn't go for that. And that scene in the manga sort of proved to us that Isshiki couldn't necessarily kill Boruto, which is a major point in the story, right? Because Isshiki needs Boruto for his plan, and he needs to sacrifice Boruto to Ten Tails to cultivate the divine tree, which I've actually seen another concern, now that we're on the topic of the divine tree, about how the divine tree could actually be cultivated, which the one in the war, I don't know. That's a really good question. I've never actually pondered on it, but I'm assuming there's other ways to cultivate the divine tree as well, but maybe that fruit just wasn't as strong as one that would be from another Otsutsuki. But yeah, the majority of this episode was pretty good. We kind of learned that Boruto is now 70-80% Otsutsuki, and that's kind of the reason why he's needed for the divine tree. It's better to cultivate a divine tree with somebody that's more healthy and not dying like Jigen, so that's kind of one of the reason to why Boruto's even alive in the first place. Overall, the fight scenes were pretty good. Like I said before, there were some scenes to where like Boruto got his bones crushed. I think they used sort of the similar animation to when Kawaki was fighting Garo. Kind of reminded me of that fight a little bit, when Boruto and Isshiki were talking and Isshiki was just crushing his bones. It kind of reminded me of that scene in terms of like the animation, like what kind of faces he was making. But moving on to Kawaki, I think they did a good job at also stressing just how much Kawaki is sort of relying on his karma, because it's been there for a majority of his life, and him losing the karma, you can kind of see him having like that phantom feeling, I think is what it's called, to where you think you have something and it's not necessarily there. And the first thing he does is he goes to open up a portal to chase after Naruto and Sasuke, but he doesn't have his karma, so you can really see Kawaki sort of longing for his karma. Just see that he's not used to having that one thing that was branded on him. And Jigen even says something to him that the reason he branded him with karma is to fill the empty hole that was inside him and to make him actually whole. They are driving that point home and really solidifying how Kawaki feels in this moment. And also Amato too. Amato's still being calculated. We don't really know what's going on with him, and he's just been kind of tricky the whole time. But we know that Amato is just sort of doing things by ear and doing things as they come up. So that was pretty much my whole thoughts on the episode. Differing from the manga, I still think that this episode was great. Baryon Mode, I'm a fan. I really do love that crimson red. I think with the anime, we do get kind of like the special privilege of them bringing back sort of cool stuff and really getting to take a different spin on things. So maybe the next episode 217, is going to have a little bit different spin as well. It seems like they're going to be fighting for way longer, and Naruto's going to be sort of in the air more often. So really excited to see that fight. But yeah, animation definitely delivered, storytelling definitely delivered, and I can't wait till next week. But that's all I got for you guys. Let me know what you guys thought about the episode. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and join the Discord. And I'll see you later. Peace.
Sub,